Thank you, everybody. That introduction was incomplete. I'm also a fluent Greek speaker. Now, I don't know if any of you are quants people. You'd know that Greek is a second language in quants. I'm also going to admit something. I might be Greek, a fluent Greek speaker, but I'm not a mind reader. And when I was invited to come over, it was, well, what do I say? What do I do, you know? And they're like, well, just come and talk to them about quantitative methods. You know, talk to the PhD cohort about, you know, how quants is your friend, basically. So, at the outset, I just want to apologize to everybody. I know that some of you are in different spaces. I was overhearing a couple of conversations. I did come in time for the tea, you know, so I'm an economist and there are free lunches, okay? And I came in for the tea and I overheard some conversations. People were talking about change management, and while I was breaking into a cold sweat, I was like assured, like, you know, no, it's okay. Not all of them are quants fundis. Now, I'm also an avid TV watcher. Do you guys know this program? Shazam. You might not recognize the host. I think I might be, yeah, this is, wow, okay. I'm not giving out prizes yet, but yes, that's Jamie Foxx before he became famous. What we're going to do is, we are going to, as soon, I just have to get this, it's not off yet, no? Yes. Because what we're going to do is, we're going to give out prizes, right? We're going to give out prizes for, you guys know the game Shazam? Any of you heard of it at all? Yes. No, just please go ahead, like, yeah. Do you watch it? Sorry? Do you watch it?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Please tell us, sir.
It's a game where, correct me if I'm mistaken.
No, please go ahead.
It's a game where people will be selected from like being an art tutu or something, and then a music will offer. There's like a corner of music of all the classes.
Okay.
Pop and
Oh, wow, okay.
R&B and everything.
Right.
And they would open the music for, I think, 30 seconds. And
Okay.
the people would guess the title of the music.
Okay. So do you guys get the game? First person, you hear the opening riff of a song, right? And you scream out, Shazam! We give you a chance. And for you today, for our viewing pleasure, you get these sweets, right? Okay, so if you don't mind, I'm going to just mute us quickly. And I'm going to do this. All right. Oh, and now the speakers aren't connected. I don't have a winner. I don't hear Shazam. Sorry? Castle Logger. Okay. I did not hear Shazam. Come on, you can see these guys are PhD candidates, so I just want to make rules up as they go along, like, you know? I did not hear Shazam. Anybody? Shazam, okay, yep, in the back. Okay, well, you know, because, like, you know, we're so lenient here to our students, and we're so supportive, it is Africa by Toto. Okay, so, please, no, but don't worry, it's the first time round. We'll get the knack of the game. We'll get the knack of the game. Here you go. Well done. He's majoring, in addition to change management, I overheard his PhD topic. Right. In addition to change management, he's also doing choir mastery. Guys, okay. So now you get the gist of the game. You guys are just warming up, right? Just warming up. I give you So let us make it a bit. Let's make it a bit more interesting, because this one, in all fairness to your colleagues, there was fame, given the TV watchers out there, given the splash that there is. Anytime now. Okay, I think I need to update my music selection then. Like, you know, obviously it must be me. Okay? No takers. Anybody? Okay, that's fine. I think I'm going to deduct, I have to deduct prize money from the next contestant winner, eh? Okay. And this one. Any of you, I'll give you hints on the singer. He's American. He's passed away.
You have to try Monday.
He is.
Monday.com is a platform to track everything.
Dance with my father again, guys. Come on. I know that you're. Yes? Yeah. You've forgotten. he's not that dead, guys. I know. Well, I think. I didn't hear Shazam, but that was Luther Vandross, right? Luther Vandross. Okay, let's make it a bit more interesting now. Because we don't usually give hints, but because on this game show, we really want to see winners. Oscar nominations, biopic of a famous dead singer. Here we go. You can see your feet tapping under the seat there. Anybody? Oh, thank you.
Another $1 for that.
Do you think he deserves a? What do you guys think? Okay. Well, just because we don't want to be seen to be unfair, here you go, Brian. Thanks for the coffee and the buff quaker. Fairly easy stuff, right? Fairly easy stuff. Now, I think you guys need to wake up, after the lunch. I'd like you guys to do something for me, right? I want you to do, because at least many of us here know Queen. I want you to do this on your desk. Go ahead. Whoa, guys, we can all write our own PhDs, but when we want to make music, we need harmony. Okay? What are we doing? Yes? Okay, I had a voice there. I had a voice in the back. Yeah. Okay. So what have we done? Okay, thank you guys. Well done. You all get sweets. Everybody's going to get a sweet. Everybody's going to get a sweet. Okay? So guys, what have we done? Right? We've rapped out a beat, and this has evoked something in us. Right? Fairly simple. Okay? In fact, once you hear this beat, you may or may not be motivated to do something. Right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Right? You've moved from a beat, numbers, which is numbers. 1, 2, right? It has done something to you, okay? And what you've done, you might be moved to express yourself. You might be moved to express yourself in a, can I have the beat, please? Go ahead, guys. Go ahead, good. Oh, I feel my, oh. What happens? You might be moved to start dancing, right? Right or wrong, guys? What do we call this? What do we call this? We have moved between, let's make it sound very academic. We have moved between quantitative, a beat, and has allowed us to express ourselves, which we think is really, qualitative. And how do we express our emotions, our qualitative emotions? We express them in a rhythm, dancing, right? So this distinction which we see between quantitative and qualitative, well, I don't think I need to give much of a lecture, with all due respect, Brian, because I think the candidates already have it. I think you guys already aren't afraid of numbers. I think you guys are ready to understand that, well, look, actually, there is just this nub that we're trying to get to, the data, right? Okay? This movement between qualitative and quantitative, as we will see, I hope to demonstrate during my presentation, is just a fallacy. Okay? It's a mirage. We only have the data. Some types of data are more amenable to analysis using qualitative methods. Other types of data are more amenable to analysis using quantitative data. But there's actually no difference between the two. Okay. Well, sometimes you might be moved to do something. And even though you're moved, please don't try this at home. Okay, yeah. Yeah, do you remember this? Yeah? I mean, she comes to South Africa and tries to outdance, former President Jacob Zuma. The dancer-in-chief. I mean, yeah, poor Theresa May. She was, from then onwards, she was an ex-prime minister. Eh? Sorry? Okay. So, why don't we try some sequences of a safer sort? Okay, and yes, there are prizes involved for this. You know the rules of the game, though. Let's Shazam. So what follows in this sequence? What do you guys think follows it? Yeah. Do I have a Shazam? Okay, excellent. Yes? Yes. And? Well, he's broken it down for us. Look how he's broken it down. But yeah, go ahead, yeah. So what is the number? Yeah. Don't be shy, you're among friends. Yeah. But you know what? Because you said Shazam, you're going to get it anyway. Yeah. Yeah, you go. Good. Okay. And the next one. What are the next numbers? What comes there? That's a hard one. I think, do you think PhD candidates will be able to get this one? This is the part where I make some complimentary noises about development study PhD students. And they would have got this, like this, but anyway. Yeah. Okay. Let that be homework for you guys. Yeah. Shazam. Sorry? Wow. This is a real PhD, candidate right here, yeah. Hint, there is. But we'll leave that for homework. Great. And the last one. What comes next there? Oh, wow. Excellent. E. E? Okay, I think E for anything? Yeah? Sorry, can you tell us, Brian, why E?
I think it's 11. It's the first letter of each of the numbers.
Oh, wow. Do you guys see that? Right? Did you see how the quants, the numbers were actually hidden amongst the letters? Did you guys see that? Right? Tricky, these numbers, aren't they? Eh? It's kind of like our salaries at the end of the month, like they just disappear. We don't know what happens to it, like, right? Okay. And now, let's go a bit deeper. Talking that, we already know that sometimes numbers are hidden in the patterns of letters. What about this one? Yeah? Did I hear Shazam? You're probably once expecting so much work after lunch, right? Yeah. What do you guys think? Yeah? Yes, excellent, yeah? At 9:15. Why? Why say 9:15? Yeah?
From 9 to 10, that's 60 minutes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and if it doubles up every minute,
Mm-hmm.
so which means the time will be 15.
Did you guys get that? Wow, look, tell us how you got that. Tell us how you got that. Help explain us.
I said that it's from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., that's 1 hour. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and since it doubles up every minute, so 15 minutes will be 3/4, which is 9:15.
Did you guys see that? Hey? Okay. So it'll be half full at 9:30. Am I correct? Why 9:15? It doubles itself every minute, right? Every minute. So between 9:59 at 9:59, how much is in the jar? Yeah, anybody? How much is in the jar? It's half full. Yes. At 9:58, it's a quarter full. Do you guys get it? In fact, we can represent this in Greek notation, right? It's a shorthand. What graph are we looking at? Let's say 2 to the x graph. Just shorthand. Nothing to be scared of. We're just trying to throw in that Greek there to show us, as we have SMS speak, as we have WhatsApp speak, we have in quants data, we also have shorthand, right? That's the Greek letters. So we just write notations, mathematical notation, 2 to the x graph. Okay? Now, you can help save somebody. But number 2, what do you guys think is happening there? When will this poor young boy escape from the well? So he can get his 15 minutes of fame on Instagram. Hey? What do you guys think is happening there? What is happening? I think I'm going to have to start being, Brian, Harold, I think I'm going to have to start being a bit, discriminating. Where are the economists? Right here, yeah. That's it, you'll have struck off the PhD program. Economists should be getting this. Right? Guys, I really don't want to leave you all so much homework. But what do you think is happening here? Yeah? Why 30 hours? Okay. But what happens when he gets to 27 meters up? So he comes up to 28 meters. He falls down. What happens? From 25 meters, he climbs up to 28 meters. He slips down to 27 meters. What happens then? He's like, yeah. So now is it 30? Even though he's moving each hour is 30, but now does it take him, 30 hours to escape the well? No, it doesn't. It takes him a lot sooner, right? Because he actually goes over the edge. Do you guys see it? He's able to go over the edge rather than slip back in. Unless you're going to be really cruel and, we didn't get the shot of him, and so you just kick him down the well again, and ask him to come up. But we're going to say that's not going to happen. But what are we doing here? What did we do? We actually visualized something. Another shorthand, which quantitative people are fond of doing. They're fond of graphing stuff. Merely a way to visualize, as we've done, to put our thought processes, right, into an easily accessible graph. There's no magic here. There's no magic. Once again, it's just allowing us to become more, to engage with the data, to help understand it a bit more clearly. Okay? I know that you guys had a picture in your mind, right? Getting out of the well. You've graphed it. You've actually just to help clarify your thought processes, you graph it. That's another thing quants people are fond of doing. But sometimes things are a lot messier. Oh gosh. You get these riddles and riddles and riddles, and gosh. Because sometimes we have to use our understanding of numbers to derive at solutions. They have real world implications. Right? Right or wrong? It's not a parlor trick anymore. It's not a matter of trivia. Now it becomes a lot more, look, let us apply this. Okay? What happens here? How many of you are in the position of giving advice? Because this is what you're going to be doing then. You're acting as an advisor. Right? You are giving advice on what somebody should do. Think about it. This is immense power you have here. Okay? What do you do? Not so easy when there's pressure on, eh? There's a stormy, excuse me, it's a rickety bridge, it's a stormy evening, the wind is starting to come up, right? A lot more pressure than we have here in this lecture room, right? Then what do we say? Well, guys, you don't have to get this, but the point was, I was just trying to paint a picture there. I don't know how to dim the lights. But was to say that many times when we are making decisions and when we're using our understanding of numbers to give advice and to provide insights, that's under far from ideal circumstances. Okay. Don't worry, it'll be in the slides I give you. You don't have to take a picture of this. We can also use numbers for something else. A lot messier than the previous riddle, mind you. Families. You guys know this one? Families, messy affairs. But we can use this. We can use numbers again. And our insights from quantitative data to demonstrate something. What do we use them to demonstrate? A series of relationships. Because that's what numbers are about. How is X related to Y? How is 2 related to 1? It's just relations. That's what numbers do, correct? And we can do it here. Shazam for the first one. Fathers, you will get 3 sweets if you get this one. How many eggs? What? Shazam, oh wow, yeah. You guys think that's true? The fourth person, do I have a Shazam? Oh no, do I have a Shazam? Guys, remember, PhD, follow the instructions. What's your objectives? You stick to them. Stick to them, right? Go ahead.
I think the two fathers shared one.
You guys are obviously a lot better fathers than I am, because I am hungry, I'm going to eat. Like, you know, yeah. Yes? Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I think for this, I think we gotta train the hashtags here, like, you know what I mean, men, like, you know, come on guys. All right? What has happened? We've used our understanding of family dynamics to map a relationship. Right? Easy. Thank you. Okay? Do you guys see how that happened? The second one. What have we done there? Yeah. Yeah. So, please. There are two fathers and there are two sons on the table. Yeah. You can be a father and a son at the same time. You know? Yeah. Okay? You guys see it? In academic terms, what have we done? We've mapped out a set, the relationships between the numbers in a set. Easy, easy, easy. We haven't done anything. Okay, let's stop here. Have we done anything scary yet? Hey? See, numbers are our friends. They're helping us understand things. The second one? Anybody, any ideas? Guys, people usually get better at this as the lecture goes on. Okay. What do we need here?
Four members of the family, two brothers.
Okay. We didn't hear a Shazam, but that's not the reason I'm not going to accept that answer. Okay. What are we doing once again? What is the variable we're holding constant? That we're mapping the relationships around. Right? Okay. It's 4 sisters and 3 brothers, by the way. But we'll give you guys a last time to wade into family politics and family dynamics. Look at question C. And this time, what I'm going to ask you to do is, remember back to the last slide, when we used our relations, right? Map out your relations to give us an answer here. Just put it onto the page, use graphical illustrations, right, yeah? Okay. Make your task a bit easier. Remember how we said graphical or like a written representation, what it does, it makes things easier? Make things a bit easier for yourselves. I promise it won't affect how much you're going to get in your prize. All right? I see you guys are very diplomatic and staying out of family. Yes, do I have a Shazam? Excellent, thank you. Okay. No, they're not siblings. Maybe not in the biological, maybe they are, but not in the biological sense of the term at least. Yeah. Yes? What do you guys think? Wow, this is interesting. Maybe maybe this shows up different understandings of family relations. I didn't think about that actually. Yeah. Anybody? You guys would, I know now already that you guys suck at remembering birthdays, anniversaries, who is related to whom, like, yeah. It's going to be very interesting around you guys, get together. Like, yes? Father? No. So, Anya is, do you read? Sorry? Yes. Yes, Stiren's auntie. Okay? Map out the relationships, guys. Map out, use it. Map out the relationships. All right? What we'll call it in, there's a series of hierarchical relationships which govern the relationship between Anya and Diren. We'll say something fancy like that. Okay? But yeah. Last one, I'm talking about relationships. Right. This is the last one, I promise you. This also reveals something else. It's a lot messier. Up until now, all the problems we've had, they are very definite answers. Right? Okay. They're very definite answers. But in reality, things are a lot messier. We deal with something that you guys are probably very familiar with already. We deal with probabilities, where things aren't certain. A number could be a number, it could be a yes, it could be a 1, if this and this and this. It could be a no or a 0, if this and this and this, right? So this is much more closer approximation of how relationships or how numbers apply in practice. So far, we've just been given very definite answers, but this has introduced us to something very special called statistics, okay, where things are a lot less clear. So after all of this, after waking you guys up and hopefully, we're getting to a point where we see that, no, look, numbers aren't so scary after all, right? And I hope that so far I've already started persuading some of you to use this in your dissertations. Jim isn't here, but I do have an agenda. I can say that, because he's not here, and it's to convince many of you, much more of you actually, to start using quants methods in your dissertations. As we'll see, and hopefully as we've seen so far, it helps you understand and unlock things, right? So how many of you guys now, before we start the formal presentation, how many of you guys are looking at using quantitative methodologies for your dissertation? Wow, excellent. Excellent. I'm just very optimistic, but yeah. In development studies, we also have a similar sort of mix. I think ours, though, is, I fear, a lot worse. So I'm a quants person in a qualitative school, and our mix is more like 90% doing qualitative and 10% doing quantitative. I declare it now for everybody to hear, I too am confused by words like discourse and narrative and deconstruct and all those fancy, really interesting things that the qualitative people say, right? So now we're going to start, I'm here to help you start speaking our language. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you guys about quants data. What is quants data exactly? And we're going to go into the sources of quants data. Right? Where do we find these numbers? Where are they hiding? Remember the riddle that Brian got right? Where are they hiding there amidst all of the letters and the text? Okay? Then we're going to look at, okay, so how do we get all this data? What do we do with it? What can we do with it? Should we want to use it? Okay? And then I'll give you a bit of examples of my own experience. We have used quantitative data. I'll give you 2 projects that I've done, and we'll do some class exercises. Okay, how does that sound, guys? It'll keep me up for about the next 45 minutes. Is that okay? I'll try and let you guys go out early. Right. So, what is quants data? Common sense term, more like what we call a sort of crude definition. Oh, it deals with numbers. Right? It's not strictly true, but we can put it numbers in which we seek to find patterns. That's all we're doing. Right? That's important. Now there's this, one of the cardinal sins in quantitative research, especially at PhD level, is theory-free statistics. Okay? What drives the derivation of your choice of methods, the meaning you attach to certain numbers and patterns? It's your theory. So it's never just the numbers driving your dissertation. It's the theory first. Okay? You're going to make sense of the patterns with your theory. First. So, remember, it's in service of something else. Okay? You usually group into data set. So, numbers are seldom appear in isolation. You've been doing it so far, actually. Right? In all the riddles that we've been through. You've been making sense of stuff. We'll call it by either deduction in some of the riddles, right? Or induction, when we work backwards, right? We use the processes of mathematical induction. Whether you guys do it or not, you guys are already well on your way to being quant researchers, right there. The meaning we derive from numbers, like I said, comes from your theory, okay? Let me give you an example. My body temperature right now is 40 degrees Celsius. What do you say? Yeah? Yeah? Somebody? Yeah, it's a bit high. Oh, yes, I'm running a fever. Right? What have you done? You've appealed to some medical knowledge. Okay? There's a difference between data and information. It's a transformation process. Change management person, it's not that transformation that you're thinking about right now. Okay? But there's some transformation that takes place between this data, the raw data, and information that can be used for decision making. I was teasing one of my colleagues from the GSB when I told him that I was coming here, and I promised them that I would mention the term BIS, because they're fond of using business information systems, business information systems, business information systems. It's not data. Some transformation has to occur before it becomes usable information. Okay? Decisions that we can make, information that we can make decisions upon. Yes, we have a role to play in deriving meaning, but the value of the data, right? I'll go again. I'm running a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. What do you suggest? What do you do? I should. Right? The value of that knowledge is in the application. What you've done now is you've actually given me a piece of advice, right? The value that you derive from the numbers in the application. Go and seek medical advice, right? Did you guys see that? Okay. We'll go through different types of data. So, not all numbers are the same. I know that sounds a bit blasé, but go with me on this one. So you get different types of data, your nominal data, whether you're a man or a woman. Is there any information, when we code being a man as a 3 and being a woman as a 6, because women are worth twice as much as men are, right? Does it make any sense having a 3 or a 6? It's a bit arbitrary, right? Okay? So it's nominal data. It's there merely to code the presence of a particular characteristic. Right or wrong? Okay? Then we have ordinal data. So there's an ordering. Okay, so I know that you guys are not just reading very academic articles all the time. Any of you done a magazine quiz? Anybody at all? No. Cosmopolitan. Find out what sort of shopper are you, and you have to, right? Okay, or which do you prefer? Right. Okay, it's expressing something. Okay? So you'd ask us, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you today? Right? There's a ordering here. Okay, do you guys see that? Then we move on to interval data. Numbers again, but slightly different. So the classic example uses temperature. That's 22 degrees, 40 degrees higher than 39 degrees. Yes. 39 degrees Celsius, is it higher than 38 degrees Celsius? Yes. Is the difference between 38 and 39 degrees the same as the difference between 39 and 40 degrees? Is it? 1 degree in nominal terms, but actually there's an exponential curve for temperature. As likewise for earthquakes. A magnitude 5 on the Richter scale earthquake is not just, oh, if there's a magnitude 4 earthquake and there's a magnitude 3 earthquake, a magnitude 5 earthquake is vastly, vastly more destructive than a magnitude 4 earthquake, right? The distance between intervals is not the same, but there is value. See? There is value in that ordering. Okay? Does it make sense, guys? We know that 5 is vastly much stronger than 4, but we do know that 4, magnitude 4 earthquake that is much more destructive than 3. Okay. And this is the gold standard, but we have ratio data. Okay, so you can divide, you can have the counting numbers. It's if there's we know the means to have nothing, 0 of a particular quantity. This is kind of the gold standard. It goes out saying that different data lends itself for different methods of analysis. Lends itself to, different methods of analysis. So you've got to know, what sort of data am I dealing with first? Before you decide what sort of methods of analysis you're going to use, right? Not the other way around. Remember what we had said at the beginning? It's the nature of the problem that drives the selection, not only of whether using quantitative or qualitative, but also whether or not you're going, the type or the methods of analysis you're going to use. Okay. But, okay, let's look at now that we know what it is, where does it come from? Where does all this data come from? Right? So we get secondary data sources. This is data it's already existing. Don't worry, we will get to those interesting questions, PhD candidates, about what does it mean to exist, and what does it mean for something to be and have character and value and essence. We'll get there. But the secondary data sources have already been collected. They're already out there. I make a plea. So before I make a plea, let me have primary data. So primary data, as it says, you're going to go out and you're going to collect it. You're going to create it, right? Typically, what we do is we think, oh, we need a survey. We need to go out and we need to collect this data from firms, from people, etc. But you can just as well conduct an experiment. Okay? Our discipline might be limiting us to what we think is primary data collection. But there are other ways to collect primary data. Now, how many of you are working in places where we collect vast amounts of data that haven't been touched? Okay, let me ask you a different question. Can any of you remember, off the top of your head, how many forms have you completed for admin purposes? 4, 5, 100, 60, 20? Too many to count, right? Every time you're filling out those forms, that data is being collected, right? And dare I say it, PhD candidates who are in companies who are collecting large amounts of data, you have an opportunity here. Now I know, sorry, Prof. I know that academics seem to have this bias for going out to collect primary data, right? Let's be honest. How many of you are doing primary data collections for your PhDs? Hey? How many guys are going to go out and collect data? Everybody else undecided, or you're all doing secondary data analysis? Everybody else is doing secondary data analysis. You're all doing? Who is doing secondary data analysis? Okay, guys. Don't worry. Jim had told me that you're all at different places of the PhD, so it's of the PhD journey. So it's fine. I understand. But look, in my experience, when we think of PhD, we think go out and create a data set. Go out and collect data. Go out and do primary data collection, right? However, there's so much data that already exists. They're sitting there in administrative data sets that nobody has touched, that nobody has brought this theoretical rigor to that a PhD candidate can or could, okay? And another one I would like to bring up is artifact analysis. Each day, we're generating tons of data, for instance, on social media, on our media. We have all of this data that's being collected. What's stopping you guys from going out to analyze it? A PhD does not necessarily, you do not necessarily get a PhD by going out to do primary data analysis. Okay? I'll just ask you guys to bear that in mind because, like I say, many of you guys are probably working in companies that would benefit a lot from bringing your theoretical rigor, your academics, to the data that's already been collected. Looking at the data that's been collected in a fresh and new way. You'll get your PhD. Okay. So do you guys get that? Where does it come from? What do you do with it? What do we do with all this data that we want to collect? Like we said, and I can't emphasize this enough, well, what question do you want to answer? What question do you want to answer? That's the first thing you should be asking yourself, right? That would govern what you do with the data. Okay? We call this problem identification, setting your aims and objectives. Remember, not the other way around. You're putting data in service of something. And ask yourself even, is this a problem that lends itself to quantitative data collection? What do you guys think? You think it's reasonable if we ask that? Okay? So before we look at all these really sexy looking data sets, we ask ourselves, what is the problem? Does it lend itself to quantitative data? And then we proceed. The place of quant research, well, we think that every number is, let's say it stands on its own. It has meaning and it measures what it says we can measure. But actually, oftentimes, we measure it with a great degree of uncertainty. And we do this all the time. We do shorthand, shortcuts. This proxies for this. Height, proxies for. In a baby, right? For development progress. We do this all the time. So what we're actually talking about are not measures, right? You have X amount of health, those computer games and X amount of health. No, we're actually looking at indicators. We're looking at an indicator to measure something else. We're using it to proxy for something else. Okay. We see this in the health field, but in many other fields as well, we see this. Right? We look at barometric pressure, and we say, look, based on these indicators, we predict that it's going to rain. We do this all the time. Okay. Do you guys understand the difference in a measure and an indicator? One is it's almost like tangential, to the other. And this brings us on to, remember we had mentioned statistics. Right? Things are getting a bit murky. And what do we do in these murky situations? Now we start moving into the realm of statistics. Okay. We start looking at what are the differences between people who have this characteristic versus others who have this characteristic. Okay? We start putting confidence intervals on stuff. Because we know we can't measure these things. We measure these things with some degree of uncertainty, some degree of imperfection. We take account of this in our statistics. We've devised methods for this. And I'm sure that these are methods you're going to come to know and love during your PhD journey. So, very briefly, statistics, we kind of group them into two, which is your descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. We're all familiar, with descriptive statistics. Any of you read a government report as part of your PhD proposal? How many of you mentioned government reports? And any of you came across a government statistic? Absolutely. Great. That's South Africa. The government produces tons of this. At the moment, would that be sufficient for you to get your PhD? This is the state of the world as given. That's what descriptive statistics do. Okay? We won't be nasty. They are statistics. There is information in them. But for the kind of information that we're looking at, or the kind of data that we need for a PhD, we expect a bit more from you. Okay, so please don't confuse descriptive statistics with that which is sufficient to get you a PhD awarded in the future. Okay. In fact, what we're looking for more is the inferential statistics. When you test something, you formulate an hypothesis, you test an hypothesis. This is where we're looking at now. This is where you should be thinking of. Okay. Now, we often, for the purposes of, so we're going to take a sample of PhD candidates, their perceptions of the usefulness of the PhD workshop program, introductory workshop program. Right? We want to use this to measure opinions of all PhD students in the university, right? For a measure of their opinions on the usefulness of this PhD PhD introductory program. What happens? We take a sample of you guys' opinion. Okay? So we do it with some degree of, so we say, look, we're going to go out, we're going to do a sample, we're going to do a survey, right? And this leads us into sampling and survey techniques. Different suites of tests available, how we got and actually gather data, what techniques we have to use to account, for the fact that we're using a sample versus the entire census of the entire population. Do you guys get that? Many of us, though, this is where we're going to live. The sample and sampling techniques. That's what you're going to spend a hell of a lot of time explaining in your PhD, right? I would love to tell you that that's the end of the story, but actually that's a red herring. Even though it's going to take up a lot of your time, even though it's going to take up lots of endless nights as you go out and decide how to go and draw a sample, what sort of inferences to make, there are other questions you have to answer, you have to get to, before you actually get to this. Questions like these. So, remember we are talking about the different types of problems and how they lend themselves to being answered using quantitative or qualitative data, right? Now, when you're at, those juniors at masters and honors level, this is where we start. We look at the methods you should use, right? That's typically where our students think of, oh yes, let's get to the methods. And we go into looking at validity, reliability, and how generalizable is a sample? How replicable is it? Right, yeah. And we go into this. Now, while that might be appropriate for your masters, at a PhD, we kind of expect a bit more from you. Okay. We actually expect you guys to start much further up. And you ask about, wow, what are the ontological questions? What is the nature of being, of reality? Right? What do you think of, when a number somehow seems very solid, somehow seems very, real, right? But we've had research on pain measures. Was it real? Was it like that number? I've scored a 10, a toothache, on your pain measure. Oh, it's 10. Was it really real? Was it subjective? Was it really objective? Or was it a subjective experience of pain that we're talking about? I think being in labor just goes off in any scale there, like, right, the ladies? Yeah. And then we can look at the epistemological questions. How do we know? How do people know stuff? Right? What is the nature of knowing, of knowledge? We talk a lot in economics about revealed preferences. Right? Well, you cannot ask people about their health. You can look at the decisions that they make. Right? And these decisions that they make, these revealed preferences, reveal more about what people actually believe and feel than what they say. So a really booming part of subjective well-being research, of social science, is subjective well-being research. Well, if you want to find out how happy people are, go out and ask them. And have you know that time and again, happiness research, and I'm sure it's not just because economists are called the dismal scientists, but happiness research has been, I cannot find words strong enough to tell you how many economists actually feel about happiness research, subjective well-being. Yet it's gradually becoming more and more accepted to use subjective well-being and happiness research in social sciences. And dare say it, even for policy making. Okay? But can people really know how happy they are? How do people know? We love using this word. What is the justification for people to give the answers they do? Okay? So can we reliably measure the concept under investigation? Ask yourself that. Anybody? Those of you who put their hands up using quantitative data, right? How do you know you can measure the concept under investigation? I'll give you an example. We're in an era of, tomorrow we are having a day of solidarity. There seems to have been an explosion of violence against women. And while all men might not be trash, but, guys, we have a lot to be, let's just, right? We've been doing some horrible things to our women and children these days. Study after study after study shows that, wow, where are all these abusive men? Because if you ask most men, are you a batterer? Oh, me? No, never. Do you beat up your, oh, no, me, never. But the results, right, as expressed in the number of women being beaten up, say something completely differently, right or wrong. Okay? So can we reliably measure this, concept under investigation? Revulsion at beating up women and children. Okay? Is there a high degree of structure in this data? Okay. How closed-ended is it? How compatible is it between people? Right? Ask yourself this question first. Before we even getting into, let me go out and use, which statistics should I use and which statistical methods I use. And then, the famous one, and probably you've heard this spoken often enough by a supervisor. Oh, we've got to get sufficient statistical power. We've got to get sufficient statistical power. And the glib answer is increased number of observations, right? You guys must have heard this. Let me give you a scenario. We use this, right? The students, supervisors, we think, oh, more is better and more is more, etc. Right? But is this always the case? Right? I'll give you an example where you have 5 schools. Right? You want to collect data on, what do you collect data in the schools on? Teacher happiness, morale, okay? Teacher morale, right? At the introduction of a new curriculum, right? Or after the introduction of a new curriculum, right? That sounds something like you'd be interested in looking at, okay? And just for good measure, because we're in the GSP, we're looking at it in charter schools or schools that are for profit versus public schools, okay? Your supervisor tells you, look, you need to go out and collect, more data. You collect data on 50 teachers. That's on what, right? 50 teachers, okay? Okay? And what you do is, you collect it all at one school. If your supervisor tells you, look, we need more statistical power, do you think your approach of collecting data just from members at one school, is it going to be any useful? Is it going to be useful? Are you going to be able to make any meaningful conclusions, with this data, right? So please be a bit mindful. In reality, increasing the number of observations also incurs additional costs on your pocket, on your Guys, on your mental health, right? So just going out to get more data might not necessarily be the answer all the time. Okay, it's good, but not necessarily not necessarily a way to bypass, again, the meaning that you can draw from it. That's got to be your primary, deciding factor, right? Not the ability to get more data. Okay. Don't worry, guys, we're almost there. We're almost there. Then we must get into what methods do we, after answering all of those questions, then you get into what particular method should I use? How do I ensure, what is the validity of the data? How do I ensure replicability, generalizability? Only then do you get to all those really, what we think of as the data analysis. Only after answering all those questions above. Right. Now, this is how it looks in reality. Remember we start with problem identification, the research formulation, data collection, analysis, interpretation, recommendations. We're not very fond of doing the last two as academics. I'm sure, I hope it's different in other schools, but especially in the school where I belong, we think it's sufficient that our results will speak for themselves. Okay. If you want to drive social change, right, it might not be sufficient just to leave things there. Let the data speak for itself. Okay. We might have to, dare say it, and I'm happy to, for no sweets of course, but I'm happy to discuss this afterwards on, look, in an impoverished country like South Africa, where there are so many social problems facing us, is it really defensible to just have strictly blue skies research? I'm happy to have a discussion about this afterwards. At a PhD level, you should at least, there should be some social activism in your bones, wanting to make a change. Okay? Not only for you and yourself, and you're going to get to be called doctor and look as cool as, like, yeah. There are other reasons as well, like to want to do these, to want to do a PhD. Okay. And now I'm going to give you an example of some of the stuff that I've done. Yes, in a previous life, I was a health economist. And I looked at, for my master's, I looked at self-assessed health. Okay? So I did your descriptive statistics, I did your categorical dependent variable regressions. And afterwards, just to say my experience, so I plowed into it, I rushed into it. And afterwards, we're among friends here, so I can admit this to you. I'm actually ashamed of the piece of work I produced. There are so many questions that were left unanswered. How can I use this? How can people actually measure their health? How can we compare this between people? What exactly is the nature, like, what exactly is the anchor point? If you ask me, how's my health? Considering that last week, right, I had been run over and I was at death's door, just been out of hospital, right? How am I going to tell you my health is today? I am wonderful. I am really I'm great. Gerard, I see you walking with a hell of a limp there. I see that you've lost, like, the use of your arm, but oh no, I'm wonderful, right? So there's all these questions that I came in and they are because of rushing into this project. Okay. And I looked at actually inequality. Right, it's topical, very topical subject. Right? I looked at inequality. South Africa is a nation that's synonymous with inequality, right? And in fact, the results weren't what I expected. I found that, well, actually, I don't know if you guys heard of the relative income hypothesis, right? The relative income hypothesis doesn't really apply. What was a bigger driver of assessments of self-assessed health was actually absolute levels of poverty, not relative levels of poverty. I don't know about you, but when I drive through Belita, I still feel poor, but yes. Okay? So could I have done this using qualitative data? Those are the questions I asked myself. Can you really extrapolate results to a large population? I did try and fix some of this in later research which I did. Right? And I looked at what are people using as their touchstones, right? When they're talking about health. And is health really directly comparable across members of different subpopulations, different groups? Okay. The point of that story was not to show you how familiar I am with, excuse me, with quantitative data, but to give you reassurance. There are things in your PhD that you're going to be left with at the end feeling uncomfortable with. If I just had more time, I could really do I could do things much better. I could really write the final word on this topic. Yes, you could. Oh, wait. Yes, you can. Right? Okay. Unfortunately, it's going to cost you. And there's an opportunity cost. You need to go on to do this. You can get it in the additional research you do after your PhD. There's got to come a time, right, where you yourself are going to have to let this research go. Okay? Yeah, you can always come back and do a postdoc. Yeah? When you have those burning questions that are left unanswered. Okay. Let's bear that in mind. There are second chances in research. And you can change your mind. Right? I rushed headlong into this. Just keep it a bit longer on the slide. But at the end, I was very clear. I know I'm talking as a very poor researcher, but I kind of had in mind what the answer would be. Right? At the end, completely contrary to what I thought. Right? I say this because you're a person first rather than the researcher. Right? We make these, oh yes, the hypothesis in our minds, we become clear on what is the answer. Right? But if your research doesn't shock you and doesn't astound you, then why are you doing the research? You must be prepared for the research to take you to places that even make you feel uncomfortable. Right? That is the beauty of this journey that you're about to embark upon. Okay. So yes, you will have your self-secure beliefs, you will have them shaken. Enjoy it. Okay. I also costed the prevention and treatment of substance abuse bill. I led the team that did so. I didn't have any choice whatsoever, right, in this commission piece of research. Tendered for it, we won the tender, and we went out to get information on what are the drivers from practitioners. Okay, as the experts, we're acting more as consultants, right? We look, this is the suite of services that we need to address the drug problem that is taken root in South Africa. I found out some things during this. I found out the importance of making, because of the opportunity cost. You cannot run these exercises as we think PhDs are. We think there are these really infinite sort of pieces of work, right? I found out the opportunity cost of delaying and not doing anything. This is important. What do you do in these situations? I'll tell you what we did. We made defendable assumptions. Okay? That's it. This is where you have to start making these assumptions where you cannot go on collecting data indefinitely. You cannot do the fix of let's go and collect more data. Okay. There's a real and definite cost. If we don't produce this piece of work, right, the bill is not going to be passed or enacted to become an act or legislation. Right? So what we do in these situations, we go out and we make defendable assumptions. And you are going to do this in your PhD. Right? Whether you're doing qualitative or quantitative data. Right? Just remember, what is it informed by? Okay? Let the theory drive you. Let the literature guide you in these situations. Another shock was that what people really think are important versus what practitioners think are important versus what you believe is important, there's a very big gap between the two. Right? When we think of drugs, we think of incarceration, putting people away in a drug rehab center. What was coming out in the literature and what's been coming out with practitioners is actually we need more community-based care. That is, horror of horrors, that is a lot more cost-effective than putting up bricks and mortar structures. Okay. And like I said, the importance of making assumptions. To reach where we cannot get to, right? We have to make these assumptions, defendable assumptions. Okay. Now I know enough about me, right? Enough about me. I am now going to find out something about you guys, right? Now, I know, just the anxiety before you do your PhD, right? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? What is my purpose? How many of you guys have been plagued with these questions, right? I have something burning inside me. I've got to let it out and I've got to say something, right? And from this is birthed the PhD. Yes. You don't have family members to tell you you're perfect as you are. You don't need to do a PhD. Like, right? Yes, and you say, no, look, I need to do this. I'm going to do this PhD. Right. Am I kind of correct in you guys had this anxiety, at least some of you, right, before you decided to do a PhD? I am here to give you reassurances, once again, using numbers. You guys know about numerology? Okay, wow. The power of numbers. No. Well, we're going to do it anyway. It's something called your life path number. Right, and your destiny number. Let me just get this in. Okay. I'm going to sound very, just imagine me with a, a turban on my head full of crystals. I'm going to give you like, yeah. Your destiny number is the opportunities or environment you will come across in life. And your life path number, this number represents your inner talents and your abilities and the lessons to be learned. I sound very profound, right? And you know what we're going to do? We're going to calculate it. Right? We're going to help answer the questions of why you're here and what is my purpose in doing my PhD. Guys, that's even better than getting sweets as a prize. I'm going to give you inner peace. I know you got it here. So, take out pens and papers, please. Our last exercise for the day. Right. We're going to calculate our life path and destiny numbers. So, your life path number, I want you to write your birth date out. So if you're born on, give me a birthday, anybody? Yeah. You didn't say Shazam, but anyway, it's fine, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
18 March 1990.
So it's 30 plus 03 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 0. Okay? Go ahead and calculate your birth number, please. Right? You should get 16. Am I correct? Was it 26? No, 25. So, yeah, the day on which you were born splits it up into 2. So if you are born on the 13th, so 1 plus 3 plus your month, sorry, plus 7, and then plus the year in which you were born. Don't worry, ladies, you don't ask you the year in which you were born. Right? Plus the year in which you were born. Right? And that's going to give you your life path number. Okay? So, the day on which you were born, right? The month on which you were born, right? And then the year in which you were born. Add them all up. Yes? No, single digits, integers. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and do that. There's a but. If you get the number 11, right, you do not reduce the number 11 or the number 22. The Oracle said so. Google. Actually. But the Oracle says so. So you add 22 as 22, you add 11 as 11, and if you come at the end and your two numbers are 11, right, you leave it. If you have two ones together, you leave it. Okay. So the objective is to get down to a single number between 1 and 9. Okay, guys, do you get that? Right? You guys each should have a number between 1 and 9. Right? Or 11 or 22, you leave them alone. You don't reduce them any further if your number is 11. If your number is 11, you don't reduce it to 1 plus 1 equals 2, for instance. Right? Each of you got your life path number. Guys, this is really deep stuff. Like, wow, I'm so glad I'm here. To bring, like, enlightenment to everybody. My purpose in life was fulfilled. Okay. And then we're going to look at, well, you're going to be the judge, actually, because there's more. So you guys got that? Everybody calculated their life path number. Right? Okay. Everybody done? Yeah. I mean, guys, there can only be there's only 4 digits in the year. I know some of us might think that we're much older, but like, there's only 4 digits in the year, like, so it's not going to be that long. And then now we're gonna calculate our destiny number. Things get a bit more intricate here. Once again, we have to move between letters and numbers, right? We're moving between letters and numbers once again. And this is quite, you're going to look at your name, your full name, first name, second name, and your surname. You're going to allocate, right, the letter, each letter in your name, you're going to give it a number between 1 and 9. So if your name is Brian, so for Brian it will be 2 plus 9 plus 9 plus 1 plus, you look at, yes, 5. Okay? That's how you're going to calculate the numbers for each of, so it's your full name, eh? It's your full name. You calculate the destiny number for your full name. Okay. And you're also going to get to a single number. A single number between 1 and 9. While you are doing that, I'm going to take my time here finishing my muffin. Okay? Yes. Absolutely. Your full name, second name, and your surname. Right? That's important. Come on, guys. We're dealing with cosmic, things of cosmic significance here. Come on, your full name. Unleash the full power of the universe. Your full name. remember, when you get an 11 or a 22, please don't reduce it, but add it as a single unit. So if your name adds up to 11, all the letters in your name add up to 11, when you're doing your calculations, you put it as 11 plus 5 plus 7, rather than 1 plus 1, okay? Don't worry if you didn't. The universe has a way of correcting these things. It's okay. Oh, you guys all done? Wonderful. You guys all done, eh? Okay. So we had a question. Right? We had a question earlier. You be the judge. Remember we had said that these numbers mean certain things and they reveal certain things? Voila. Who of you got the number 1? Can you recognize yourself up there? Right? You got your number, right? Can you recognize yourself up there? Take a look at those characteristics. Those are just some of the characteristics, mind you. Right? Hey? Do you recognize yourself up there? What do you guys think? Yes.
Sorry, I'm lost here.
Why?
Let's say even if I had a name with only 4 alphabets, how would that work into 1?
Okay, so you'd get a number 10. So if everything added up to 10, 1 plus 0 was 1. So if you got the numbers, if you had the sequence of numbers 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3, right, a 4-letter name, you'd get the answer 10. And 1 plus 0 would give you 1. Right? And then you would be all those wonderful things up there. Notice how I just punned on 1, like, just 1 and wonderful, like, yeah. It's late now, guys. I'm really trying here. Okay? Yes. Shazam. Yeah. Yes. Oh, even better. Even better. So we have a quality control here. Right. That's what we're talking. We're just talking now about who does the measurements of your characteristics. Right? I'd love to think it's me, but my wife would beg to differ. Like, I think I'm all these wonderful things, but I'm sure she has different ideas about exactly what I am. Right? Do you recognize yourself up there? If you recognize, well, are you able to recognize others up there? 95%. Wow. Look at that. Hey? Okay? So guys, let's see what we've done. Right? I asked you for something very small. Right? I asked you for your destiny number and your life path number. I asked you for something very, very small, right? A single number. What has this discussion shown? I asked you to do something, a very simple exercise, quantitative. I asked you how much, do you feel, you recognize yourself up there? I asked you for a qualitative assessment of a number, okay, and the characteristics it supposedly embodies. And what did we ask here later? Do we believe in all this stuff? I asked you about a belief system. I did all of this by just getting one number from you. Okay? Do you guys now see the power of numbers? I've unlocked all of this. I didn't sit with you for an hour, half an hour. What does your grandmother think about you? Why were you named the way you were? I didn't do all of that. I got one number, right? And I've generated this, all of this. There's power in numbers, guys. But we don't believe all of that because we know the truth. And the only number, the answer to life, love, and everything else is 42. Thank you. Okay. Now, this is not all just mumbo jumbo. This is not him, but do you recognize this guy? If I said the angle of a triangle, sorry, oh God, I even forgot this is Pythagoras, right? The inner right-sided triangle, the square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of squares on the two opposite sides, right? He came up with this. A guy synonymous with maths and figures. See that stuff we are going through now, numerology? Right. Pythagoras came up with this. So this idea of being, a quants man and you're a certain way, was actually not true. Remember that movement we are talking about between qualitative and quantitative at the end? Here's an embodiment of this. Okay. Now, I had said at the beginning that, numbers are our friends, and being friendly with numbers can't harm us. I didn't mean all numbers, by the way. Okay, yeah, the number gang in prisons in South Africa. So not all numbers might be our friends, but certain numbers, ideally, for our PhD, they're going to be perfect. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done. Any questions, anything at all, please. I'm happy to talk afterwards. Okay. Thanks, Brian. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you.
How do I respond to that presentation on quantitative methods? As an ex-maths teacher, I was ashamed when those word riddles came up and I got all tense. Oh, man, I should know this stuff. But it was fun. You took us on a bit of a journey. There were two things that really stood out about research in general. And one is the issue of impact. And I really think it's becoming more and more something that we need to look at. We get PhDs, we make recommendations, and so what happens with that work? And I really think you emphasized that thing. If we're wanting to change things and have an impact, we should be building that into our PhD. So very important. Then the other two things that struck me, the opportunity cost of time. You do what is good enough within the time constraints, and you've got to just accept that. No PhD is perfect. None. Absolutely none. And making defendable assumptions, I thought, was a very, very important thing as well, in order to constrain those times. So please join me in thanking Dr. Boyce for this journey into numbers.
Thank you, everybody.